Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. What if Naruto got Harem with Anko Kurenai and Yuga Part 2? If you want more awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video ever. Since Naruto changed his training was up, he didn't mind. In fact, he was happy. His progress was what most considered genius. Naruto, however, wouldn't take that kind of credit. He gave credit to his sensei and his longtime companion. They never questioned Naruto on his change. After that, they didn't care. They trusted him. They also trained him and stuff outside of combat. Hana was happy to finally have something to train Naruto in his newly heightened senses. It was perfect for her. There were basic manners and politics taught by Kurenai. To his misery, there was human anatomy by Anko and basic sealing. Yuga taught Naruto about a lot of the village's laws. Ever since he learned Genjutsu, his pranks have increased. Nuts' relationship with his sensei has also been amazing. They kept it mostly a secret from the general populace to avoid the hate. Kiba kept silent so many wouldn't know that he was dating Hana. They would keep each other company in public. Though he kept his hen on, he also kept his blindfold on to help him with his sensing. He had improved greatly without a proper teacher. The Hokage was aware of his new changes and abilities. At first he nearly had a heart attack, much to the fox's delight. Naruto made him promise to keep it a secret until he was ready to reveal it. However, neither the Hokage nor his sensei knew of the fear collecting. They also didn't was receiving extra training from the fox. They were some of the few people he didn't want fear from when he wasn't with the mistresses, or ice queens as the male populace named them. He kept busy. He often trained with Team 9. Tenon and Lee were very fond of Naruto. The Hyuga was another story. Ni seemed to think Naruto was a weakling. He tried to challenge Naruto to a fight, often insulting him. Naruto would just ignore him and act as if the Hyuga was beneath him. He often thanked his sensei for teaching him to control his emotions. Even when he slept, he was busy. He would often spend this time with QB. The fox had taught Naruto a lot of Genjutsu, even taught him a bit of Kinjutsu. When he awoke, he instantly started training and everything. I love clones. The fox taught Naruto more about his new bloodline. The more fear he gathered, the more powerful both would become. His illusions would become stronger and more realistic to the victim, and he would also become stronger and faster if he looked someone in the eyes. He could find their worst fears. However, he could only use fox Genjutsu with Q's chakra. When he gathered enough, he could use his skill without limit. When he wasn't training himself, he trained the Kohu core. He hadn't taught the many jutsu he did help increase their speed, stamina, and stealth. They were now physically better than Sakura. They had collected a lot of fear, but nowhere near enough. He needed to gather true despair. Braining wasn't all he did. When with his HMS, he would relax, often giving them massages or taking them on dates. There was, however, a major downer in his happiness. Theo Baka screamed, "Sakura, pay attention. Mention his team," and he used that title loosely. They were no team of his. If any, his would be Team 9 minus Niji. Naruto had to deal with his team's insults and constant ridicule. His sensei would ignore it. In him, he has also neglected to teach Naruto anything, off in favoring the AA. Sakura just sat on the sidelines doing nothing but praising SK and ridiculing Naruto. Not that he showed much. He held everything back during their team bonding exercise and training. He would bide his time to show them what I can really do. He couldn't wait. He even continued his sensor training, not even putting a Genjutsu over the blindfold. "All right, what mission do you want today?" asked their leader. "We have babysitting, gardening, catching too. Please don't say that cat's name," begged Naruto. "Can't we get a real mission? Not these chores." "Naruto, you are still fresh," Janine ran to Daruka. "Taking a higher mission will require months of experience." "And hey, are you listening?" old man shouted. "Naruto, if I don't get a real mission, I'll teach your paper to multiply." The Hokage paled at the threat. He was sure Naruto could and would do it. Naruto spoke, an uncaring Kakashi You shouldn't threaten your superiors, especially wanna do. Black you couldn't go through with, spoke the arrogant A. Okage-sama, spoke Nudo in a lower tone. I've already taught the paper shadow clone jutsu. Looking at his desk, everyone noticed that the paper had multiplied. It was so much that the stacks couldn't keep balance. They soon fell over and he couldn't tell which he finished 10 which he still had to do. Aruka, get them an S-rank mission ordered. The village leader, get it now or else he was cut off. Okage Sama shouted the Tunin in disbelief. They are Janine, right? The old leader agreed. I lost my head for a second. I have a SE ranked, he stated. Send in the bridge builder at his order. An old man walked in. He seemed to be drunk and continued to drink sake. He eyed the genin. These are the snot-nosed brats who are supposed to watch me, he asked. They look like they wet themselves and run at the first sign of danger. He eyed them closely, especially the short blonde one. Everyone was surprised when they didn't have to restrain Nudo. He simply looked at the client and stated, "We are shinobi, we are meant to be deceiving." He used his best Anko smile, but if you want sinister then just say so. The minute he saw Nudo smile he nearly wet himself. Many of the occupants felt the same way. No thanks, he adjusted himself. I the super bridge builder. Tuna, you are to protect me with your lives. Don't worry, Tazuna as stated. Kakashi, I'm AJ and Sasuke here is my best student. We can handle anything. Theo and the HOK frowned at the statement. It was the sign of a teacher playing favorites. All have to have a talk with Kakashi. All right, Team 7 called the HOK. You leave for your mission in an hour, so go prepare. They left. Wait, Nudo, he called. The papers are still multiplying. It was too late. Naro was already gone. Aruka help, the aged leader begged. Aruku looked as the number papers grew and grew by the second. It was truly maddening. He didn't want to pardon it. I wonder how Anko is doing. With that thought he decided to go for a walk. A long walk. It had only taken Naruto 10 minutes to prepare for his mission. He had already prepared a scroll of all he needed. An hour later they were in front of the gate. Well, it looks like the dope forgot to pack Jed Saka. Now we have to wait for you to go pack, added the Apet. Actually I have everything sealed away, stated Nudo, showing the scroll keeps me from carrying a bulky bag everywhere. He pointed to their bags. They couldn't think of a comeback for his statement. Naruto, that's a bit advanced for a genin. And stated Kakashi, where did you, who are you, asked Nudo. What do you mean, asked Kakashi. They on time, spoke Sakura in disbelief. Dust head out, he ordered. On time once. And they think I'm a stranger. The trip was mostly uneventful. The only thing interesting was that Nudo was silent. Hey Baka, why are you so quiet, asked Sakura. If you're thinking then don't you lonely hurt yourself. He was about to respond when he saw Puddle. Gunai-chan would be so insulted if she saw that. He stated, what are you talking about? Baka saw what, asked Sakura louder than needed. And who is Kurai? Everyone just ignored her as they passed the puddle to Miss Shinobi jumped out. The duo made their way toward Kakashi, surrounding him with their shuriken chained claw gauntlet. With a mighty pull, they severed the J into pieces. Sakura saw this and started screaming. One down, spoke the first. More to go, finish the second. They in for Tazuna, but Naruto jumped in way to protect the client. The closest struck with his claws into Naruto. With a mighty tug he disemboweled the blonde. The lifeless body collapsed as his inerts fell to the ground. They made their way toward Tuna, but only to be close lined by Kakashi, the demon brothers, Tachun and ranked Miss Ninja. With great speed he restrained both of them out and tied them up. Sensei, cried Sakura, you're alive. She looked toward the body only to see logs. You used replacement, she stated. Yes, but your friend died, stated too Zuna, pointing to the remains on Nudo. Who cares about that dough, asked Sasuke. He only slowed me down. Yeah, he only got in between me and S-kun, stated Sakura. He's better off dead. How can you allow them to speak like that of their teammate, asked Anna. He died to protect me. He wasn't even an adequate shinobi, stated the sensei. He won be missed. It's nice to see what you think of me, stated Naruto's walking from behind a tree. My team and sensei. Bob, how are you alive? How sass, we saw you get gutted. Theo said nothing, he just glared at them as walked toward his team. Good thing he had control or he might have sent them into a nightmare. Theo, back you answer. Sassen now ordered Sakura, or else would Haruno, he asked with such ben, you weren't even a threat to an academy student. This caught everyone minus Duna by surprise. Naruto never badmouthed Sakura even as he started acting strange. In a moment of rage, Sakura charged Naruto with a raised fist. Naruto, seeing her attack, simply slapped her. The blow caught her across the face and knocked her a few feet across the ground. She sat on the ground in disbelief. She stared up at Naruto, and even though she couldn't see his eyes, she could feel them. Enough is enough, Sakura, he stated. I won't allow you to continue using me as a punching bag. The others were in disbelief as well. Naruto had struck Sakura. Naruto, that was uncalled for, stated Kakashi. Apologize now or I will have your license revoked. If you do, then you will have Haruno punished, stated Naruto. She attacked me on a mission, not including all of the other times she struck me. He drew a kunai. In fact, I could execute her right here and now without any repercussion. You wouldn't do that to me, would you, Naruto? She asked. That seemed to only make him angrier. Wait, I'll go on a date with, she offered. He didn't even seem to think it over. Sensei, make him stop, she begged, running behind their teacher crying like a child. That is enough, Naruto stated. Kakashi, stand down or I will have your license revoked for abandoning the client. This was met with a chuckle from Naruto. I never abandoned the client, he stated to Zuna. Come on out, that is call. Another tuna appeared from behind one of the trees. It seemed the bridge builder was ready to make a run for it. You sure everything is safe, he asked, gaining a nod from Naruto. Good, glad that I could have your license revoked for abandoning the client and your students, stated Naruto, backing Kakashi into a corner. How there two of the client do, asked the as the Tazuna closest began to fade away. I placed a gain jutsu on the area and hide the real tuna, he stated. I needed to know who they were after getted me terrified the whole time, he stated. I'm not going to kill you, Hano, so stopped crying, he ordered. I need you alive so I can continue the mission. Actually, Naruto, started Kakashi, hoping to get some revenge since these ninja are after Tazuna. As you revealed, we will have to cancel it. It's too dangerous. Nice work, Baka, shouted Haruno after regaining herself. Now S-kun won't have a perfect record. No mission means I don't need you, Haruno. That sent her back to begging and crying. Please beg the bridge builder. Wave needs your help, and he went on trying to guilt trip the team. Don't worry, Tuna S, stated Naruto. We're going to complete the mission. That is my decision, Naruto stated. Kakashi, not yours. This is AC rank turned a rank. If you don't want people to know your actions, we will complete the mission, stated Naruto. Are you threatening me, Janine? He asked, his rage at the boiling point. That is a grave offense. No, I'm blackmailing you like a shinobi, he stated. What was your motto again? We will continue the mission, Kakashi strained out. Oh, where did you learn those illusions? Asked Naruto made no attempt to answer. I demand you tell me. Theo just continued walking, sass and raged at being ignored by the dude, drew a kunai and tried to attack him. The key word is tried. Somehow he was on the ground with the kunai gone. It was in Naruto's hand, which he had pointed at Sas's eye. Are you attacking me as well? Naruto asked, knowing the question. Maybe instead of killing you, I'll just pluck an eye out. Collecting fear is becoming addicting, he thought. Enough, Naruto shouted. Kakashi, leadin'. Just continue the mission. 1 sec, the blonde. I need to collect my trophies. Well, tell you nothing, one brother stated. I don't need either of you, Naruto stated, raising his blindfold. He stared the brothers in the eye. They looked back. A second later, they were asleep, pulling out a scroll. He sealed the mist nin claws inside. Kid, what did you just do? Asked Tuna. I knocked them out, stated Naruto, holding the scroll. My girlfriend will love these weapons like a back alike. She never finished. I will end you, he simply stated, cutting Her off and she believed him. The rest of the trip went without incident, but was still agonizing. The awe would demand his techniques while Haruno would cheer him on. I sense a present, thought Nudo there, drawing a kunai. He threw it toward where he felt the signal. This put everyone on guard. He relished in their fear. When he went to investigate, he saw a white rabbit. This caused Sakura to start yelling again. That color is out of season though. Kakashi, what are you doing? Asked Ana. Are you trying to going to give me a heart attack? I'm going to cook this rabbit up, Naruto stated. Rabbit stew is amazing. Oh, and you all might want to dodge at his words. A large cleaver likey sword came hurling through the forest. The genin duck to the ground while Kakashi brought Duna down. The cleaver impaled itself into a tree. On top of the handle was the enemy. It was another Kiri shinobi. This guy is giving off some powerful chakra. Better drop my weights. Ziabua Mamachi stated. Kakashi, demon of the hidden mist, the Kashi Hadaki, the man who copied 1,000 jutsu. No wonder the demon brothers lost. Zabuza returned hand over the bridge builder, then in ordered, then added an the rabbit. This rabbit is going into my stew, stated Naruto. Get your own. Taking a minute to think, you can have the Haruno, he said. It's a fair trade, a harmless creature for a useless creature. I think I'll stick with the rabbit. Enough, stated Kakashi. We won't be handing over the bridge builder. I see, he laughed. Well, let's begin. In jumping away, he landed in front of a lake. Hidden M Jutsu is its name, said. Mist began to fill the area. Everyone behind me, ordered Kakashi. Zabua is a member of the Seven Swordsmen and a master of the silent killing technique. He raised his headband and uncovered his eye. I'll need this. The Sharingan. How does sensei have that? Asked S. Well, at least he can't copy my game jutsu, thought Naruto. 8 point. Kame said. Master voice. Larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular, subclavian, artery, kidney, heart. He named. Which will I go for? As the mist became thicker, the fear began to set in. It was getting to all the gen and minus Naruto. One of his teachers cough. Anko cough, thought he should be ready for the killer intent of battle. That's it. Obua make them nice and afraid. The awe is about to slice himself. Nudo then felt a chakra signature appear behind him. Using the speed from all of his training, he turned toward the signatures. He impaled Abuza with a kunai. However, instead of bloody got water, the whole body just fell apart in a puddle. Water clone. That kid has some skill, complimented Zuza. Your fight is with me, stated Kakashi. Hand and fight, but with water. Clone holding Kakashi. Sorry, but does anyone care? Brun shouted. Kakashi, take Tuna and get out of here. This fight was over when I was caught, and where would we go? Asked Naruto calmly. This guy would just find us and cut us down. As he spoke, the area started filling with water. Clones, you should just leave, the bridge builder stated. Zabuza, I have no time for kids playing ninja. This coming from a man pretending to be a demon, taunted Nudo and raging Zuza. Let me give you a taste of your own medicine. Handing the rabbit to Tazuna, he stepped forward onto the water. My own medicine? Zabuza asked before laughing. What can a kid like you do? You've probably never even spilled blood. Do you think you're the only one who messes with the enemy senses? He asked. The only one who induces fear. He allowed his weights to drop so he could adjust. Reaching into his pocket, he pulled out a scroll and unsealed a sword. The handle was average, but the rest was anything but. The blade was crimson red. The guard was actually a fox head holding the blade between its teeth. Well, that's an impressive sword, Zobusa complimented. But nothing out of the ordinary, really? Asked Naruto. Something sure smells good. Realization hit everyone. The area was lightly filled with a sweet aroma. Zabuza tried to cover his bandaged nose, but the smell got through. No use. Abuza stated Nudo to an upside down Zab. Use a welcome to the inverted world. How is this kid upside down? He looked around before realizing he was the one upside down. How did I get upside down? This is the power of my inver, he stated. I reverse one sense of direction. He looked and saw his everyone else was affected before charging. I don't own bleach. That is interesting, Zabuza stated, but not Original Zabuza turned around to face Naruto. He swung the blade toward the blonde only for Naruto to disappear. A gash appeared on his arm. A second later Naruto appeared upside down to his left where he swung. Naruto again vanished. And a scar appeared on Zab's back. This continued for a few moments as his team watched in disbelief. How is that doing something I can't do? Asked the so-called Avenger. I deserve that power, not him. As Naruto continued to dance around Zabuza, he felt something off. There was no fear coming from Zabuza. He needed to end the fight. Tightening his grip, he charged forward and struck its Abusa. He brought his blade into range. He struck. He missed. Zabuza had backstepped the rogue swordsman, then swung his sword at Naruto. As the sword came in contact with Naruto, the blonde scattered in an explosion of black rose petals. There he formed into Naruto a large distance away. As the blonde stood there, he covered his chest. He had been able to avoid a fatal blow, but not without some damage. They good kid, but as I said, unoriginal. Complimented Zuza. You only distort the sense of sight. It's been done, he stated. I, however, am a master of the silent killing technique. I can take you out with sound alone, and you couldn't hide your footsteps. Realization hit. He needed a new plan. He dropped the invert technique and began to think. Time to put Kinjutsu to the test, he thought. Let's go. Zabuza taking the stance Yuga had him trained and he prepared. Let's see if a member of the Seven Swordsmen is more than a title. This kid is still willing to fight. Zabuza was impressed. It'll be nice to cut down another swordsman. Zabuza took a swing at Naruto, who blocked. The blow was very heavy for the blonde, but he managed. Giving a heave, he barely pushed Zab's sword back, giving a clear view of the older swordsman's stomach. Taking the open shot, he jabbed his sword towards Zabuza. The demon swordsman merely sidestepped. He then swung and swatted the blonde a few feet away with the side of his massive sword. Naruto stood. He needed to stop Zabuza, and fast Zabuza made the move. Leaping forward, he attempted a downward slash. Naruto quickly jumped back, but Zabuza was persistent. He tried to defend, but the blows were too heavy and getting heavier. Zabuza delivered a kick that sent the blonde tumbling back while Naruto was off balance. He went in for the kills. They cleaved Naruto in half. Naruto dispersed into black rose petals and let them scatter far and wide while they held a distraction. Here he formed overhead, humming down. He intended to impale Zabuza through the head. The demon of the mist turned and with a massive swing cleaved through Naruto, only to go up and smoke. Crushing snake constriction. Naruto activated. Thank you, Anko. Abusa couldn't move. He was being held by a snake. It began to squeeze him more. Gain jutsu pulsing his chakra dispelled. Naruto had already reached him. B of the crescent moon. Using his clones, he split into 3 different Narutos. The first 2 charged from either side, while the third disappeared as the first 2 came in range. They each struck Zab as a back paste and gutted the first, which had tried to attack Hadden, only for him to go up and smoke one down. Raising his sword, he blocked the second strike with another mighty swing. He decapitated him, only for them to go up and smoke as well. Whereas he on cue, the final Naruto came from above. He delivered a powerful cut towards Ob's torso before he could strike again. He was cut down. As he looked around, he saw no trace of Naruto. He looked toward the kid's team and smirked. It seems he ditched Yumek. Zabuza holding his wound. Too bad. Well, who's next? The other 2 grew terrified before he could move toward them. He was stopped. Looking toward his feet, he saw vines holding him. String bean binding illusion. The vine continued to grow. They wrapped around Zeus, erasing him into the air. They tightened themselves to restrict the victim's movement. Actually, I was just setting this up, stated Naruto, appearing from inside a giant bean pod. What are you afraid of? He asked as he began removing his blindfold. Before he could do so completely, Zabuza started dissolving into water. A water clone. When did he be were good? He spoke behind Naruto, but not good enough. Raising his sword, he slashed at Naruto. The wound was a large gash across the blonde's Chest thanks to his high pain tolerance he could barely stand it. Okay, new plan standing to full hide he summoned. A clone with an unspoken order. The clone transformed into a windmill shuriken. The shuriken, he said, impressive. Henge, but I'm tired of gay jutsu. He then took a ready stance. Besides, you'll never touch me with it. Naruto did his best to hide his smirk. The same mistake my Highness made. Taking aim, he threw the shuriken towards Zabuza. As it grew closer, he casually leaned to the side as the shuriken passed him. It slightly cut his cheek. That cut was enough. That shuriken is real, he thought, looking toward the direction it was heading. He wasn't aiming for me, he was aiming for the water clone. The real target was hit. The water clone was dispelled and Kakashi was free. I knew I couldn't beat you on my own, so I freed someone who could, stated an exhausted Naruto. Now you two play nice, he stated before moving toward land. The two Jin squared off. They began circling each other's well. Zabuza stated Kakashi, lead and see if you've got enough in you to continue. They began weaving their hands signs water style. Water dragon jutsu, they shouted simultaneously. From the water rose two giant water snakes. They toward above all present their attacks. It seemed that they were evenly matched. Kakashi will need an edge to win this. They began weaving again. Now a no brows, he called, drawing Zabuza's attention. Haha, you looked, taking a serious demeanor, he called. Invert. Zabuza went wide-eyed, turning his body around. He aimed the jutsu behind him. Water style giant vortex jutsu. That nothing. Water style giant vortex jutsu. Turning to the sound, he saw Kakashi wasn't behind him. He was in fact to his side, too close for Zabuza to defend or dodge. He took the hit. Had on the force behind the jutsu was too much. It carried the ruin all the way to land, knocking him into a tree. Demonic illusion, tree binding death. The tree seemed come alive as it wrapped around Zabuza. From the tree emerged Naruto. As if he were a part of it, he loomed over Zabuza, kunai in hand. Surrender, Zabuza. Naruto ordered. You've lost. Zabuza struggled but didn't have the necessary energy. The demon of the mist gave a glare worthy of his title at the blonde. He stiffened as two senin needles impaled his neck. Then the fallen nin went limp, looking toward the one whom threw the needle. He saw a masked figure, a hunter nin he remembered from his studies. The figure stood beside his team, motioning for him to bring Zabuza forward. He did so. Thank you for distracting him, the hunter nin stated. I've been tracking him for a while. No problem, replied Naruto calmly, but on guard. You were here for a while, why not aid us? The figure stayed silent. I see Naruto Santo harassing the hunter nin, ordered Kakashi. Hands ob Usza over boo. That is an order. Janine, do what you're told. Baka shrieked Sakura from behind their sensei. All right, stated Naruto, don't blame me when this fake hunter nin kills us. Fake, they asked as one. Grabbing Zabuza, the fake hunter nin disappeared in a shunin, appearing behind Tuna. The hunter nin then grabbed the rabbit and left again. No, my rabbit stew, wailed Naruto. What happened? asked Ana. I was ordered to let the enemy live and ended up losing my chance at rabbits. To Naro stated. By the wake Kakashi, good night. In 321 at the end their sensei collapsed. What did you do to sensei? asked Sakura. Fix him now or they'll never find your body, he stated, silencing her. Now Tuna is your house nearby, though I demand you. He was silenced as well. Sleep Thea was out like a light. He put her Uno under as well. No real reason behind it, he just wanted her out. Could you blame him? 20 minutes later they were at Tuna's house. They had sat Kakashi down in a room to rest. It turned out he just had a mild case of chakra exhaustion. The next morning Naruto sensed a familiar chakra signature. Running to the door he saw one of the most beautiful faces ever. El Maichi, he greeted Anjui, leaning in to kiss her. Foxy greeted Anko. How are you doing? Better now that you're here. He answered, not to sound rude, but why did the old man send you? I saved him from some paperwork. She ed him. You wouldn't have anything to do with that, would you? Now Nan Nudo wouldn't meet her gaze when he continued to avoid eye contact. She laughed. She walked in the room looking around. She saw the family She would help in guarding Nudo-san, asked Tsunami Tuna's daughter. Who is this? This is Anyo-chan, he introduced Anko. This is Tsunami Tazuna, the bridge builder's daughter. Nice to meet you, Tsunami, Anko greeted. Where is the Cyclops? The emo and the pink CER monkey upstairs, she answered. Giggling when she entered the room, she saw Kakashi was asleep. The AA was in a corner brooding and Haruno was pestering him for a date. A Cyclops, Anko shouted, waking Kakashi, who whooped your butt. What are you doing here? Anko asked Kakashi. I haven't sent for any backup. I did. Stayed at Naruto right after we were attacked by the demon brothers. We don't need help, stated Sasuke. I could have handled this mission with it. We ran into a rogue ninja called Zabuza. Sakura answered. Sensei got caught and Sassen was going to save me, but the baka got in the way and tried to show Sasuke up, and she turned a glare to Naruto, then did something to him and Kakashi sensei and me. So basically he saved you and now you're whining because it wasn't the AA, Anko stated. She turned to Naruto. Tell me what really happened. Naruto lowered the blindfold to reveal one of his eyes. On contact, he activated a jutsu. Men for briefing. Flashback. JSU. That's right, I went there. As the scenes replayed inside Anko's mind, she felt pride. Naruto had used the very skills that she and her friends taught him with great skill. He then admitted that he needed help and freed Kakashi. Nothing is wrong with your sensei, stated Anko. He just has chakra exhaustion from overusing that eye of his. What did you do to me? Do the Sass asked. I put you under a simple gain jutsu to knock you out, the blonde answered. It was actually pretty easy. The answer enraged the AA. How could the doc put me in a game jutsu? I'm an AA, the elite. It must be that sort. It has to be. No way that the dope is that strong on his own. Nuto, you have been acting brash this whole mission, stated Kakashi. Learn to respect your team or I'll have you punished. Baka shouted. Sakura, you won't be as good as Sasuke as I don't know why I'm surprised. It's not like I just saved their lives. Naruto turned to the door to leave. Where are you going? Do Naruto continued. I asked you a question. Don't ignore your betters, the Kashi shouted. Anko, what do you think you're doing? She gave a glare that froze them. How can you have such a dysfunctional team? I tried to get them to work together, but some people, he glared at Nudo, don't understand the value of teamwork. That is a lie and a half. I've seen your form of teamwork, she stated. I've known about your negligence for a while now. She wasn't finished. Because of that, you have a group of unprepared gen and on a dangerous mission. Ando, I believe I can effectively train my Janine, stated Kakashi into his book. They've done well so far, only thanks to Naruto. The one you neglected, she retorted. If it weren't for him, you'd all be dead. Why do you care so much about the baka? Sakura asked. It's like you're his girlfriend or something. I am, stated Anko. What? Shouted everyone in shock. You're dating Nudo. Nudo has a girlfriend I'm on, Nan called Anko. You can give me a full body massage. Wait, do SK called. I demand you give me that sword and the claws from the demon brothers. He held his hand out. Someone like me could use them much better than you. No, stated Naruto, rage building. The sword is mine and the claws are for my other girlfriend. Other girlfriend, they asked. You're nothing but a pervert, screeched Sakura. That's probably my fault, admitted Anko, but it wasn't me alone. Women, I demand you take his weapons and give them to me, ordered SI. Deserve them more than an abandoned nobody. Nudo has had enough. He was used to insults, but doing so to his family was his break point. He began reaching for his blindfold as he growled. What, you're afraid of Naruto? Shouted Anko. I think you should go for a walk. The blonde took a few deep breaths before kailing. This is going to be a long mission. Okay team, time for some training, called Kakashi. You will be learning something special today. Wood sensei, you can't teach us in that condition, called Sakura. And why do we need to train? Zabuza is dead, right? Actually I can, and no he's not, he replied. Hunter Nin are supposed to destroy the bodies on the spot. That can only mean he's ally to Zabuza. I did say he was a fake Stated Nudo. What will we be learning? It asked S, hoping for a powerful jutsu. You will be learning to climb a tree. Without hands, how is that possible? Asked Sakura in amazement. Anko had a different feeling and said, comrade, they just now teaching you're the team tree climbing? She asked. On an Ank mission, she sighed. Let's go. Naren called Anko. I was given some stuff from the others for you on this mission. She gained her as usual grin. We don't want you going soft in training without us, BKO. I'm afraid that Nudo must train like everyone else. Stated Kakashi. He needs the chakra control the most. I already know it. Naruto stated. I've mastered up to J in level chakra control. There is no way you know that much, stated Sakura. Until she saw he wasn't listening. Hey, don't ignore me. Why are you wasting your time on a dope like him? Asked Sass. You should be training me, not that. Doi was cut off by a kunite to the neck. I will choose who is worthy of my training. Stated, and as her killer intent flowed out. Let's go. Ner-chan. Ino is still a slave driver. He thought other parts of woods. She had increased his weights and then gave him orders to start training immediately. He was happy to be learning new techniques, but he had limits running and dodging kunai while trying to learn new sword. Caught is on top of water brings you to them fast. Why is the world spinning? Did I say you could take a break, Nan? She said in a false sweet voice. Yes, he tried. Fine, let's break something. She grinned. I'm going for your legs. He was back to training. Ino looked at the exhausted Nudo and she was nothing but proud. He may not have mastered everything, but he was doing well. Hyun not even using his clones. He didn't want to be dependent on them. That is enough for now. Nudo. She called. No sooner had she said that he collapsed. Dinner should be ready. He seemed to find a bit of energy in her statement. When they arrived, they were greeted by the family. It seemed dinner was ready. Naruto hastily dug into his food. His piece didn't last. Oh, called the what did she teach you? None of your business, team Nudo stated. Naruto. Baka, you answer. SK and shouted Sakura. Naruto did, stated Anko. You just don't like the answer, Naruto. It would be helpful to know what learned, stated Kakashi. Looking from his book, we could use it to our advantage. You mean give it to SK to copy, stated Nudo. I won't give him my hard-earned skills. Why do you all train so hard? Asked a new person. It was Inari Tsunami. Zan, you're all just going to die. No one can beat G. You should all just go back to your comfy homes. Did you shouldn't speak on things you know nothing about, stated Anko as Naruto tense. Some people don't have the luxuries you think they do. You all think you can just come here and be heroes. Heroes don't exist, Inari shouted. None of you know suffering, so go back to your peaceful homes. Suffering? Asked Naruto in an icy tone. You don't know suffering. You live here with a family that loves you. He raised his head, glared at Inari. You have a food in your stomach and a warm place to sleep. Nudo May Anyo couldn't finish. The killer intent coming off of him is maddening. Are you hated for something you couldn't control? Have you beaten so badly and so often that you don't notice most pain? Do you go home every day to absolutely nothing? He stood. Maybe I should show you some of my pain. He began to raise his blindfold, but a hand stopped him. Anko then hugged him from behind and whispered something in his ear as she continued. He began to calm himself. He turned to everyone present and stated, I'm going to go blow off some steam. He then shined away. Anko turned to look at the crying Inari. The massive killer intent had been too much for him to handle. Stop whining. You deserved it, she said. Just because you have it bad doesn't mean you have it the worst. Baka probably made that all upright. Kun spoke. Sakura HN was his response. You have no idea what Naruto has been through. Hisano, the trial he's endured just for living. She whispered, all for something he had no control over. Was it really that bad? Tsunami asked. No, Anyo answered. What he said was the sugar-coated version. Woods. The next morning, Naruto was lying in a field. He had done a lot of damage to the area. No tree was spared. In his rage now, he was enjoying some well-deserved rest. He then felt a chakra signature enter the field. It wasn't a Member of Team 7 Hisam Tuna or even one of his family members. It was however very familiar. The signature grew closer. Excuse me, the voice called. You'll catch a cold if you sleep out here. Don't worry, Naruto reassured. I have inside work on my immune system. He let out a quiet chuckle at his own joke. So what is a pretty lady like you doing out here all alone? You have a blindfold on. How do you know I'm alone? A thought then occurred. What makes you think I'm pretty? I know when someone's around the same way I know you're pretty, Naruto answered vaguely. He then lowered his blindfold and looked Haku in the eye. I was right pretty. Their eyes met. As they looked deeper, they saw each other's pain. Those eyes are just like mine, they thought as one. I'm Nudo, by the way. You are Haku. I'm picking herbs for my sick friend, Haku answered. Should I be worried that I'm alone? No, he hastily answered. My senses would kill me if they thought I thought so. Something perverted. He saw her work. Do you want any help? Sure, Haku answered. Theo sat down beside Haku and began picking herbs. Haku wondered how Nudo saw which to pick but didn't ask. Naruto-san, are you a ninja, right? Asked Haku, gaining a nod. Are you strong? Yes, Naruto responded with pride, but I need to get stronger. Do you have anyone precious to you? Yes, Naruto answered with no hesitation. There are very few. He thought of each one. But I'd happily lay down my life for them. Then you will be truly strong, Haku stated. I think I have enough herbs. Thank you for your help. They stood and turned to leave. Hunter-san, Naruto called, stopping Haku. When I said I'd lay down my life for them, I meant it, he continued, but I'd make sure whoever hurt them suffered as well. Neither turned the other. They began walking in their separate directions, although neither knew of the smile on the other's face. Naruto-san, where have you been? Asked Tsunami. The others have been worried all of the more. Just Anko. She didn't answer, so he did. I had a strange day. I was told to give you something when you return, Tsunami. It's a gift from Mosen. He noticed she had a frying pan in her hand. No, he begged, please don't. I'm sorry, but she came dodge for a civilian. She had good aim. Bridge Nudo had guard duty. He didn't mind. It was part of the mission after all. He was even able to collect a little fear from the nervous workers. He just wished they would stop quitting. Asuna called a random worker. I just can't keep working on the bridge, he said. I'm sorry. Hey, Naruto called to the man. What do you think you're doing? I'm going home, he stated. So you're going to give up too? It wasn't a question. He turned to the remaining workers. Are you all just going to give up? The worker who was about to quit stepped forward. What choice do we have? He asked. Some of us have a family to provide for. We can't do that if we dead. Theo unfolded his blindfold. QB is going to hate me for this. He needed to help them. This bridge needed them. He looked into their minds for the cause of the fear. Builders of the bridge, I know what you all are afraid, he stated as he faded away. G appeared out from nowhere and stood with all of his arrogance. The builders were all afraid. If G was here, then that meant that he was going to stop them. They were going to die. What happened next shocked them all. Naruto reappeared behind G and sliced away at him in one swing. Her moved the tyrant's head. As the body fell to the ground, it faded away. And I can help you rid yourselves of it, he stated, if you are still willing to work for the future of Wave. Naruto stood in silence. He waited for them to make their decision. Finally, one of the bridge builders stepped forward. We are then, he stated as they looked on in confusion. You are all willing to defy G. He elaborated. You are willing to continue for Wave, he shouted. You all have already casted out your fears. The builders looked toward one another. They were willing to defy G for their family and for their future. They were willing. They cheered as they returned to their jobs. There was a new vigor in each of their movements that was a great motivator. Kid spoke to Zuna. I just hope it was enough. I try. Wait, what do you mean? Even with this new energy, we already lost a lot of workers. I have that covered, Naruto stated, forming a cross with his hand's shadow. Clone Jutsu. Ana was speechless from what he saw. For every one worker he lost, there were 3 Narutos, maybe More just tell us what we need to do. Nudo was happy QB had worked him into the ground for giving hope instead of fear. Now Nudo was allowed a night of peace even as he slept. He had felt the others leave. It was a lesson he's taught him. Always be prepared and on guard. That was how he knew of the 2 extra signatures that entered the house. Let go of my mom, cried Inari, and that was how he was aware they were enemies. He was already downstairs. He had concealed himself and observed one of 2 swordsman thugs were holding on to a bound Tsunami. The second was making his way toward Inari, drawing his sword. Stop, Tsunami cried. If you kill him, then I swear I'll bite my tongue. Even these thugs knew that she wasn't bluffing. Pine the first said, you got lucky, kid. The one closest to Inari kicked him down, much to everyone's surprise. He stood back up. Naro decided it was time to make himself known. You did good, Inari, he spoke. Your dad would be proud. It looks like one of the ninja was left behind. One spoke, it seems so. Naruto returned calmly. What will you do now? Do he asked. Nothing, we have all the cards. He motioned to Tsunami. We are leaving and you will stay or we start cutting this one, the other threatened, putting his sword to Tsunami. Hut who? Naruto asked. The thugs looked at Tsunami. To their surprise, she merely faded away. They looked and saw that she was next to Naruto. She was no longer bound and was holding Inari tightly. They drew their swords and took a menacing step forward. Wait, Tsunami cried. You want money, right? If I give it to you, will you leave? The 2 thugs looked at each other. They shared a cruel smile and looked at Tsunami and said, sure. Nudo knew it was a lie. It was very obvious. He was also sure that Tsunami could tell it was a lie as well. He decided to see what she had planned, and that scroll to your side. She pointed. It has everything we have. It's a ninja tool and all you have to do is open it. The 2 snatched it up and opened it. Inside was a letter. They read the letter out loud for all to hear. Dear Naro, see, and we are at the bridge. P.S. Dodge. As they read the last part, of violent stream of kunai shot out. Many of them embedded themselves inside the thugs. They fell down dead. Mom, how did you know that would work? Asked Inari. That scroll was for Anyo, wasn't it? Naruto asked. She added a lot more kunai than usual this time. Bosun wanted me to give it to you, Tsunami admitted. She told me how it worked so I wouldn't be hurt. Or were you really going to give it to me? That was something he needed to know. They're waiting for you at the bridge, she said, not answering his question. Bridge. As Naro entered the scene, he noticed the air was laced with chakra. Because of the mist, it was much more potent. With the extra water, this would make it difficult for Naro to use his sensor skills that he relied on. He dropped his blindfold so that he could see. He didn't like it. His eyes hindered his sensor skills. He headed toward the closest signatures. They were to the side and by far the weakest. Hello, Tuna, he greeted, nearly scaring Tuna and Sakura to death. Are you trying to give me a heart attack? He asked. Not yet, Naruto spoke, but I'm so close. Baka's Sakura started but never finished paralysis jutsu. But Naruto asked, don't look at me like that. She's better off this way, he continued, motioning to her frozen body. Now you have a proper meat shield, one that won't run. Tuna thought it over and admitted he was right. I can't think of a single thing against that. Tizuna admitted. So what have I missed so far? The blonde asked. The scarecrow one is fighting Zuza. Tuna began. The kid and the snake lady are fighting against a new enemy in there. He pointed toward an ice stone. I guess I'll go and save the AA, Naruto stated after a moment of thinking. What about your girlfriend? Tizuna asked. She's inside that thing too. Who do you think I'm going to save him from? The blonde asked. Osas was not doing too well. He had so many needles inside of him that he looked like a pin cushion, and company was doing much better. She had very few needles inside of her, but it could have been worse. She would be doing better if it wasn't for one problem. Sasuke. Why? Because she had to keep saving him from the hail of needles. AJ, she shouted, knocking him away as she too jumped away. If the AAD dies, then the council will blame either me or Nudo, if not both. I can't let That happened, woman. I demand you stop doing that. I am in. I do not need someone saving me. Sorry, kid, but I can't. Have you dying? She stated. I'm and I don't need saving, he shouted. Now watch as I end this fight, he began sign. Weaving P-style fireball jutsu, the flam spread onto the ice. Mirrors. Anko would have been impressed if she hadn't seen a ch as his age do the same thing. Soon the flames died down to reveal the damage of fire toward ice. Nothing but job. Gy, she laughed. I think I see a stream of water dripping. Please surrender, Haku pleaded. There is no need for your deaths. Ha, you see, shouted Sasuke. My flame must have done more damage. Now the enemy is weak. Why else would the enemy ask for it to end? Yeah, whatever, kid, stated Anko. She knew that the enemy was just being merciful. Aku prepared to give off another volley. Anko prepared to tackle the AA to safety. Sas prepared for something else. He stepped onto the tail of Anko's jacket. He began to channel chakra like Kakashi had taught him. Soon he had stuck himself in Anko to the ground. This will teach her. As the attack came, Anko prepared to jump. However, she was being held by something. Looking back, she saw the A's arrogant smirk. The attack came and Anko took the full brunt of it. The needles were in every part of her. Sas had used her as a shield. She took another look toward Sas Traer. She gasped. You should feel honored, he smirked. You get to say that you were of use to an AA. The greatest honor, if there isn't any consolation to this. She spoke with a smirk of her own. It is that you will die along beside me. IICH, he stated. This ice ninja won't be able to kill me. I'm not talking about the ice ninja, she pointed. Before closing her eyes, Sas turned to see what she meant. Entering the ice mirrors was Naruto himself. He had seen the whole thing. And Kon, he cried, running to her side. Wake up, he beamed. Please wake up. All he got was a lifeless limp. He held her as he cried over her. Please give her back to me. Don't take one of my HMES. Make them hurt. Spoke a familiar fox. They dared to hurt your mate. Your Heim hurt them both. Yes, they dared to harm her. Use it. The fox continued. Use what I taught you. Use the fear you collected and make them know fear. Naruto looked Haku in the eyes. He needed eye contact. For this he didn't need to see hers, just for her to see his Shinobu stage 1 success. The technique worked. The technique froze her in place. It was temporary. She would break it, but it was enough. Arito drew his sword. He held it toward his face and looked into his reflected eyes. Using his fox glare, he began Shinobu stage 3. He was fear, and fear feared nothing. Over his head, chakra began to form an image of a smiling fox. His hinge had dropped. He no longer cared for it. He felt the fear he collected. He let it out as it consumed him in a red aura. It sent him past the peak of his abilities. His power only continued to grow. He would make them suffer. Standing to full height, he stared at the frozen faces before him. His blue eyes were now crimson red. He had a coat of red chakra that seemed to flow around him like a second skin. It was wild and uncontrolled. He looked and saw that they were afraid. It wasn't enough. He'd wanted them terrified. He wanted them in true despair. You dare touch my him, spoke Naruto as his rage and bloodlust grew. You dare hurt my he. Out of the way, do, spoke Sasuke. This is my Sasuke. Never finished. Naruto didn't even turn as he kicked him into the mirror behind them, but it didn't stop there. The force of the impact shattered the mirrors. Sasuke sailed straight through it. He landed in a broken heap next to Tuna and unfrozen Sakura. Paku was terrified. This wasn't the same boy she had met in the woods. It was as if he had taken in everything that scared her. Who saw that he was ready to act. Using her mirrors, she summoned her reflections to appear in each one. As they each pulled their hand back to throw the needles, another hand stopped them. Each of them. It was Naruto. He was inside the mirrors behind her. Each of them. He easily held her hand as she struggled against him. He grabbed her by the throat with his free hand. She struggled as he forced her to look forward. She was looking at her reflections as they were being restrained as well. How did he get inside? He let go of her throat. Now that she was looking, he drew his sword and leveled it to her neck in a flash. She had slashed her throat. She felt the blade give her the fatal blow. She watched as her reflections bled out, waiting for the cut to end her, but it never came, and she opened her eyes. She could see him standing there in the middle of the dome, as if he had never moved. That's right, it's only game jutsu. He can't hurt me. She would stay in her mirrors. She was safe in there, right? It's only game jutsu. Wrong. He spoke as if reading her thoughts. Just because you're covered in ice doesn't mean you can't be touched. He spread his jacket out and she could see the crimson interior that wasn't what he wanted her to see. From several points in the jacket, hook chains shot out. They flew straight into the mirror, digging into her flesh. She had never felt such pain. As Mark continued to pierce into her, they pulled, forcing her out of the mirror, each step more painful than the last. They stopped pulling as soon as she was in front of Naruto. She looked him in the eyes and saw something she wished she hadn't. This wasn't the same boy she had met in the woods a few days ago. This was someone who truly wanted to see her suffer. I'm going to tear your mind apart, he whispered, and he was going to make it happen. The chains released her as an invisible force pushed her back. She continued straight through the mirrors just as the did. Haku, however, landed between the two battling Jan. The shock of what happened stopped them mid-battle. They looked toward the one who had caused the interruption. Abusa couldn't believe it. Haku was down in a bloody heap. The shock was so great that he stopped giving chakra to the mist. This revealed Naruto. The reddish blonde was making his way toward Haku. Ziabua dashed toward Naruto. He wasn't going to let the kid kill Haku on his watch. Raising his massive sword, he brought it down with as much force as he could muster. As a Jonin and master of his sword, that was a lot. Naruto simply raised his hand and caught the blade. He held it in between his thumb and fingers. Everyone was in shock. Zabuza tried adding more pressure, but it was futile. Naruto held the blade in a simple but powerful grip. The blade didn't budge an inch. You're in my way, Naruto said. Move. Naruto raised his free claw hand. With careful aim, he jabbed at Zuza, impaling his hand into the older ninja, but strength only a ninja could muster. Her Abusa into the air without looking around. He tossed the John into the side. He didn't need to look. Zabuza landed in a bush of spikes, each spike impaling him, going straight through to the other side. Even though they stuck through, none of them were fatal. It's like the Brad is keeping me alive for some reason. Naruto made his way toward Haku. The fear has been nice, he thought. Now it's time for some despair. Aku looked up and saw a shadowy figure coming toward her. It was Zabuza. He stood over her and raised his sword. Abu-sama, she asked. What are you doing, you a broken tool? Haku, he stated coldly. I no longer have any use for you. Who couldn't believe what she was hearing. The one who gave her any purpose in life was tossing her aside. He was going to kill her. No, Zusama, she begged. Not him. It was just like all those years ago, just like with her father. Zabuza brought his sword down. Haku acted on all of her battle instinct. Using her bloodline, she commanded the water on the bridge. Using her control, she raised spears. They impaled Zabuza through different spots, each one a fatal wound. Haku looked in shock at what she had done. Thiel were a defective tool, he gasped. He fell limp and dead. No, she whispered. No, 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 she cried. Zabuza-sama, wake up, she begged. She melted the ice and ran to his body as she fell on top of it, begging to live. She heard it laughter. She turned to the site and saw the source. Naruto Hyun's not dead, he stated, but it must be nice to know you would have killed him. Aku stared in disbelief. Naruto pointed toward the dead Zabuza right before her eyes. He faded away. He then pointed to the Real Zabuza stuck and restrained by spikes. Theo raised his sword to finish her. Well, what do we have here? Spoke a new voice, stopping Nito. It seems the demon of the mist was all talk. Be what are you doing here? Abza asked. Well, Zuza started. It has come to my attention that you are too expensive, so I decided to end our agreement. He looked on the bridge. Kill the men, the women on her knees is yours to play with. Naruto, who had been ready to kill Haku, was enraged. Chani thought Anko would want me to and feel like him first. Naruto grabbed his sword and took a new stance. It was the one that Q had taught him. He never used it because it was brutal. Now he would use it without restraint. They eyed each of the bandits. They were also full of confidence. The arrogance wasn't what he wanted. Time for more fear. Remember, kid, you get the blood, the fox reminded, but I get the glory. His body seemed to convulse as he began to mutate. Fur began to cover half of his face, which became more fox-like. His free hand became claw-like from his backside. 9 glorious tails sprang free. I suggest you all come and die quickly, Naruto called. Do it while you still have the chance. These bandits were terrified. Fear makes people do crazy things. The bandits did the craziest thing. They charged Naruto head on. Naruto charged them as well. Naruto impaled the first victim with his sword, lifting the body. With his sword he gave a mighty toss. The body crashed, knocking a few over. Naruto ducked under a blade standing. He cut the enemy's throat with one swing. One tried to run. Naruto ran after him, grabbing him by the back of the head. He forced the bandit's mouth open, reaching his hand in. He began to tug and pull. With little effort he ripped the top half of the bandit's head off or tried to run. Naruto charged after them with a powerful leap. He landed one of the bandit's shoulders. A second later he jumped again. However, the bandit was missing his head. Man, I sure know how to get ahead in life, Naruto joked. 2 of the closest decided to attack from behind. Their blades made it through and pierce Naruto in the back. They ripped them out, letting loose his tail. He impaled many that were foolish enough to be behind him. There were several on each one of his tails at a time. He held the bodies high for them to see. Many tried stabbing and beating him. He would either disappear like a mirage or dodge them. He would then slaughter the attacker before moving to the next. You're a monster, one bandit shouted. A demon. Look at him, another cried. He's a tailed beast. Go ahead. Count my tails, shouted Naruto. I want the world to know the number. N9 talls, one shouted. KQB, let the world know, shouted Naruto, that QB is going to make a comeback. No, QB is dead, G shouted, and ninja killed him. Wrong, stated Naruto. QB is fear, and fear is forever. He looked toward G. You, however, aren't. Naruto turned his gaze toward the bandits. He had gained enough fear for now. It's time to end this. Salane jutsu took immediate effect. The bandits were turning on each other. They couldn't tell who was friend or foe. Naruto could have let them go on, let them kill each other until there were none left. Where would the fun be in that? He jumped into the slaughter. Neither Team 7 or Tuna nor Haku or even Zabuza could believe what they were seeing. This was a slaughter. Haku, what did you do to that kid? Asked Zabuza. I didn't do anything, she stated in equal shock. It was the ch he used. That woman as a meat shield. Is she dead? Asked Zabuza. No, she's just sleep, explained Haku. Wake her up, ordered Zabuza. Wake her up now. Aku was already moving toward the body. She began to remove the needles from Anko. Unfortunately, Naruto saw her. Even in death, you won. Give her peace, he shouted. Naruto made his way toward Haku. Each step was deliberate, each drawing Marfar in. Haku had removed the last of the needles. She was now shaking. Anko, wake up already, Haku shouted as Naruto stood above her. He raised his sword. 5 more minutes, Anko mumbled. The Bime, he asked in shock. Anko's eyes snapped open. She looked around as memories began to flood into her head. She looked at the one who had called her Nan. She asked. As she took in his appearance, he quickly dropped all gain jutsu and allowed his true form to appear. As he looked into her eyes, he saw many things, but not fear. Shek, not afraid, he thought in confusion. It soon turned into happiness. She's not afraid. Monster, came as shout from G. You're a demon. Old eyes turned to the forgotten tyrant. He stood in front of a pile of bodies. Only a few were still breathing. Naruto would spare them. They could tell what happened that would bring in tones of fear for him. The demon of the mist stood. Even though his wound was lethal, he had enough energy to raise his sword. He Pointed it toward GG, called Abusa, before I die I'm killing you. With a mighty heave he sent the blade flying. Adieu only. Smirked, taking a step to the side he awaited for the blade to pass him. He noticed Nutcase smile, the blonde mouth one word invert. He asked what is he talking about. He never received an answer. The blade that was supposed to pass him did. It passed right through him. Now it was lodged inside his midsection. He fell to his knees. He had never felt any pain as excruciating. He had never felt fear so potent. As he looked up he met eyes with Nudo Fox glare. He was in a small dungeon. Where am I? He asked to know. One, you are in my realm, Naruto said, appearing from thin air. In here I control space, time, and reality. Why am I here? Before you die, G, you're going to give me some information, stated Nudo, and then you can die. You won't get squat from me, monster, G stated defiantly. Oh, I'll get squat, G, he assured. I'll get squat, burn in hell, G shouted. Such a limited imagination, Naruto. SC down these dark decades of your pain. I'll make that sword and you feel like a memory of pleasure. B knew he was trapped. He did the one thing a worm like him could do. He began to cry and beg. Don't cry, G, Naruto sighed. It's a waste of good suffering. What are you going to do to me? He asked. I'm going to make you feel everything done to every single person in Wave, Naruto stated coldly. Every last man, women, and child. He smiled coldly toward the tyrant. I would repeat it over and over again because hell is repetition. B had long since been broken. Naruto just wanted him to suffer for his crimes. He repeated the torture over and over again. When R was finished, G embraced his death, said blonde. Just blinked inside hide the fox glare. Years had passed in reality. Only a second passed. Did Haku Abua called come here a second. Nudo knew Zabuza was dying but was cautious. Even near death he was dangerous. He just toss that sword half a bridge away. Yes, they asked. I'm dying, he stated calmly. He accepted his death. No, Zabuza, Saku protested. We can get you help from where? The man asked. I accept my fate. I just have a single request for the both of you. Whatever it is, Abu-Asama, I want you to take my sword. He ushered to Nudo and Haku. Wait, you want me to do what? Naruto asked. I don't care what you do with the sword, he stated. Sell it, give it away, it, or even gamble it away. Asama, you can't. I can and did, he stated. I want you to go with this boy as you wish, he stated. I can save you, Zabuza. Naruto say that you can continue to live. What's the catch? 3 things, he stated. The first, I want you two to come with me to Koha and become ninjas. The second, I want you to free Haku. She should make her own choices. And the third, asked Zabuza. I want that rabbit. Naruto shouted. I need that rabbit stew. Deal. Naruto drew his blade and cut himself across the arm. It was deep enough so that the blood flowed freely but not lethal to him. He held his arm and allowed it to fall into Zeus's mouth. The battle was over. Naruto had saved Zabuza, Haku, and his Himam. They would be coming back with them to join Koha. Now Naruto just wanted to be with his Haim to enjoy the fact that she was alive. Naruto, Anyo asked in his arms. What are you thinking about? There was, however, one problem. I killed them, he stated. I just killed every last one of those bandits. The guilt of their first kill. Naruto, she spoke. I know exactly how you feel. Everyone has it after their first kill, although so few ninja have ever killed on such a large scale. Do they enjoy it? He asked tonelessly. Anko had no answer. The only one she could think of was her sensei. There has to be an explanation. I know for a fact that Nudo isn't a monster. Naruto, I heard that you use technique after I was knocked. She stated. It was a genjutsu that I learned from. He hesitated. He never told them from the QB. He felt her tense in his arms. He could feel a bit of nervousness creep deep into her. He did not enjoy it. What does it do? She asked. It has 3 stages, he explained. The first traps them in a paralysis of fear. The second is more potent. It freezes the victim's lungs. And the third, she asked. When used on a user, it increases them to their maximum potential. He stated. It allows me to use kits and illusions and Other gain jutsu without restraints, that's it, she asked. Losing hope it helps in my merge with Q, he trailed off. That was the answer. He wasn't a monster. Naruto, that jutsu practically turns you into a new QB, she stated. I don't want you to use unless necessary. Okay, he agreed. He would have agreed to anything at that moment. A thought occurred. Did someone ever free Sakura from that gain jutsu? Who cares, she asked. Bridge citizens of Wave shouted. Tazuna, the bridge is complete. Cheers flowed from every citizen. They were directed to the one standing by Tazuna. What will you name it? Asked one citizen. How about we name it after the true hero? He asked. How about the great Naruto? Bridge S, who had stepped forward expecting the glory, stood in disbelief. They want to name it after the do over me and AA. Hey, you shouldn't name it after that, Baka shouted. Sakura, you should name it after S-kun. He's much better. I will not name the bridge of our hope after that. Traitor, spat Duna. He heard what happened. Ira isn't nearly as great as En-chan. Ided Anko. This got shouts of protest from Sakura. Asuna spoke. Kakashi, from his book, it would seem that you're playing favorites. That wouldn't be fair. That is the pot calling the kettle black. Everyone, though, it would be better to name it something else. Who likes the name I gave? Asked Anna to the citizens. His answer was an ocean of cheers from the citizens. The name stays, he stated to Kakashi. Let's go. They made their way back to the village hidden in the leaves. Hokage office. Paizen wasn't one to be shocked when you've lived as a ninja as long as him. You learn to cope. He was called the god of shinobi. The professor, the strongest leaf shinobi. He has served in the great wars and led them victory. He has trained the Sannin, each KAG level shinobi. That means nothing with Naruto. It was his first SE ranked mission. He was supposed to protect a bridge builder from bandits. He somehow ended up overthrowing a tyrant, becoming a symbol of hope, getting a bridge named after him, bringing home an Ankh rogue and a mystery ninja. It's my fault for expecting something normal in my profession, he thought, or just when Naro is involved. Okage-sama, I believe Naro should be punished for his. I demand the DOP give me his. Such a Baka owes kun. After getting several different types of mission briefs, the HOK felt a headache growing. It all seemed to be centered around Naruto. That much he could tell. Hokage-sama, I believe I know Yushin, stated Anko over the racket. Upon arrival of Wave, Naruto performed a game jutsu that allowed me to see what happened. I believe it would be well suited for now. I want all but Naruto to leave, ordered the Hokage. I deserve to know what the dove is going to hear, stated the AA. Anko warned Hokage S. She stated, striking shadow snakes, grabbing the arrogant child. She dragged him out. Once they were alone, the Hokage began pulling out his sake. He had a feeling that he would need it. Okay, show me this JSU, he ordered. Flashback jutsu. Now he had answer and an even bigger headache. Naruto showed almost everything from leaving the village to the bridge. What he left out was that he owned every dime G stole. He was trained by Q and that he feeds on fear. Let me get this straight, spoke the HOK. You went on a mission obviously outside your rank. Way outside, stated Naruto. You blackmailed your sensei. He a hypocrite. You fra a missing air Ankh ninja. I held him off. Yeah, you sent courage through a bunch of hopeless bridges builders. We needed the mission to be completed. You then killed near 200 bandits. That one had him a little worried. I can't take all the credit for that one, Naruto stated. I made most of the bandits kill each other. You also say that your new appearance is because of you drawing on so much of the fox's chakra. Yep, you know I don't believe that last part, but I won't press on the matter, he stated, knowing the headache wasn't worth it. You will have to wear a hinge so you don't cause an uproar. I know, he sighed. It would have been too easy just to have the disguise break like that. I'll do my best to keep the council off your back, he stated, but it won't be too long. Thanks, old man. You then turned said missing ninjas into your friends. They're more of an ally right now. The Hokage and the hidden Ambu stared at the blonde. And now you want them to be shinobi of the hidden leaf? Yes, the wizen Leader stared at his surrogate grandchild. It seemed the kid was a crazy magnet. Why couldn't he have had a normal mission? Were the thoughts of the village leader, and several hidden Ambu H. Zabuza will need a few months under Ambu watch, but Haku can start immediately. Can I have another mission bet out? He ordered Baku Raymond. Stand P. Nan Naro greeted old man. I need some ramen. Humming right up Nudo, he called. Hey, he heard an all too familiar voice call. I demand you give me that sword. For the last time, team, he stated. I'm not giving you my sword. He turned. Why do you want it anyway? You don't even practice kinjutsu. I know that it was how you did those things in Wave, he stated. Yeah, Baka shouted. Sakura, if it wasn't for that sword, you would be nothing. Even with that training you're getting, you think that I get it from my sword? He laughed. Team Howler Monkey, he called. I get my skill from hard work and having a fear-born demon living inside me. But thank you, you reminded me to visit my girlfriend and give her the gift order up too, he called. Right after Raymond Nudo happily ate his ramen. He had hoped if he ignored the two of them, then they would leave no such luck. Aka you give Sas-kun what he wants now, ordered Sakura. Why don't you two just sit down, shut up, and eat some ramen? Naruto shouted. It might make you two less irritating. Ramen can only do so much. I don't want any of that piss-flavored noodle, stated the as another bowl was placed by Naruto. You shouldn't insult the Raymond team, stated Naruto coldly. It could get upset. And upset Raymond is bad for you. Who cares how the Raymond feels? He should have taken the advice before SK could finish his insult. The Raymond attacked the noodles, stretched around the AA and began constricting him. The bowl swung toward him and covered his face as the broth began drowning him. Sassen, Sakura cried. Rud, you called of that filthy? The bull jumped to her. Well, time to go. I wonder how my HMES are doing using his sensor abilities. It was a breeze to find them. Better get them something. Yamanaka flower shop. Welcome to Yamaka. What are you doing here? Asked Ino. I just want to buy some flowers and I'll be on my way, he stated. Do you know how much trouble you put me in with daddy? She asked, ignoring his statement, and continued ranting. It's like a blonde Sakura. I kind of don't care. Just give me my flowers a lot, she shouted. It's all yo. Hey no, he cut her off. This is what got you in trouble last time, he stated. Do you want me to tell your father how you treat customers? He began raising his blindfold. Or I could punish you myself. That won't be necessary, Yamaki S called. Aoi, I don't know what you're about to do, but please don't. Flowers please, Yamanaka-san, Nudo said to annoy, and I'll go away. What kind? The clan had asked. Do you have a one of a kind somewhere around here? Of course we do, Baka. You no, shouted. We have the no. Annoy shouted in disapproval. Right this way, sir. He turned to his customer. We have a small array of foreign flowers because of the customer service you received. He sent a disapproving look toward his daughter. You will be getting a large discount from my daughter. Pay, but daddy. The look in his eyes told him to be silent. After Nudo Py left, not this time Nudo, all revenge. Kurai. He found Kurai inside of a food stand. She was with Ama, who was smoking, much to her annoyance. Well, he already knows we're dating and the others care still. I had better not draw too much attention. Hey Kurai-chan, he greeted. Hello Naruto, she greeted back. You remember my friend Asuma? She asked, hoping Asuma caught the message. Hello Asuma S. Naruto greeted. How is your food? I hate you, Asuma stated, gaining a glare from Kurai and a chuckle from Nudo. And when I leave you will love me, the blonde stated. Then you will hate me again. I hear you had your first SE ranked mission. Naruto Kurenai asked. How was it? I have some gifts for you, he stated, reaching into his pockets. I hate this hinge. It's easier to just seal stuff. I got my C rank mission pay, so I brought you all something. Finally finding what he was looking for, he handed her two things. The first, a bouquet of desert roses, and the second, an all expense paid trip to the Leaf Lotus. She shouted. Naruto, how did you get this? The Leaf Lotus was the most expensive salon. They did everything from Massages to nails and hair, everyone who went there felt as if they bloomed twice. This would cost more than AC rank. Mission: I collected a few bounties. He stated it actually came from G, but let's just keep it a secret for now. Nito, she smiled. You really know how to treat a lady. She sent a glare to Isuma, who looked away. Thank, I need to find the others. Bye. But a quick kiss, he was off to his next time. Kurai, he quite assume as she ordered, just eat your steak. He was eating dumplings. Looking down toward his plate, he saw perfect T-bone. I think I love that. Kitty took the first bite. It was cooked just the way he liked it. Perfection. He could taste the flavor and feel all of the maggots in his mouth. Wait a second. A second later, he was emptying his stomach all over the floor. I think I hate that. Kid want me to kiss it better, Kerr, and I asked, sure then. Clean your mouth. Click click. Perfect. Hana, hello pup. Soom greeted Hana as in the back. Thanks Soom-chan. Heading around back, Naruto saw her training with the triplets. Hello Naruto, __, she greeted. Hello Inam. He pulled out a scroll. I have some things for you. I hope there's something nice. Hana stated she knew it would be there coming from Naruto __. After all, when she unsealed it, what she saw surprised her. Inside were the gauntlets from both of the demon brothers. They were in perfect condition. Naruto, these are amazing, she stated. Where did you get them? Dumb question, she thought, kicking herself. I had a crazy C rank mission, he stated. It's the same for the second gift. He handed it to her. An all expense paid trip to the Leaf Lotus. I'd love to hear all about it, she stated. How about you stay the night and tell me all about it? She used her most seductive voice. Then we can know. Came several shouts from the distance. The Inuzuka family was starting to appear and surround them. They were giving hateful looks to the blonde host. The one glaring the hardest was Kiba, Hana's younger brother and Nutke old foe. He stepped forward and spoke. All member of the Inuzuka, I asked you. He shouted. Do you enjoy your sleep? Do you enjoy your peace? Yes, they answered as one. Then we must keep that do from sleeping with my sister, Kiba shouted. Or we'll never get any sleep. Attack, someone shouted. Run pup. Ransom shouted. I need you alive to give me my grand pups. She really wanted those grand pups. Shunan Arba shouted after him. Nudo simply walked by a tree and stood by the bench by it. It was a nice day, but he had to move. Sitting down to scroll, he continued on his way. He didn't look back as a hand stretched from concealment and grabbed the scroll. He didn't look back when he heard the gasp of surprise. Looks like someone likes the sword I got her. Thank you, dead bandit with good taste. During his rage, he had found a beauty sword but knew that he would never wield it. He didn't look back when he heard the feminine squeal. It looks like someone loves her. Spot rip. Click Anko, and that is how a kanoi seduces a man, stated Anko, I just asked you how you were and where you've been, stated in Honora. Now you've traumatized my female students long before they need to be. He looked at the class. And you knock the male out through nosebleeds. They'll probably be perverts now. Oh, I'm fine, she stated. And I was on a mission with Team 7. She leaned over the desk, revealing a lot of cleavage to Uruka. How are you? Uruka __. Her voice had taken a very seductive tone. I am fine, he stated, flustered. So you went on a mission with Team 7? Hey, that's our boss's team, stated Kohu. Boss Anko asked, if you say the a hero, then I will know. Way the shouted. As 1 hour boss is Naruto Uzumaki Ner Chana, she asked with a smile. Has he taught you anything? It was a simple question to the core. It was a hard one. The trio fell into a huddle. They were shivering, not from the cold but from an untold fear. It seemed as if they were trying to push it to the back of their mind. It wasn't working. First rule of Naruto training. Uden shouted, do not talk about Naruto training. Moi, what's wrong with him? asked Ruka. Moi was the only one not panicking as much. She was shivering in fear. Just not as much, Naruto, she stated, as if it were obvious. Boku and Mai-chan has them terrified. She was so proud. Knock. Uruka sensei called Hanabi. There is a man with a large chakra supply at the door. That Sim. Uden shouted in Fear Hunes come for us, he knew we were talking about his training, shouted Koham. Now Hyla, he stopped at all the HOR thoughts. Oh, don't stop on my account. A disembodied voice spoke. By all means, give me some ideas out the window. Moi shouted. They jumped out. It didn't matter that they weren't on the first floor, it was better than Nudo catching them. Baruka sensei, Hanabi called. He's not at the door anymore. Then where is he? Anko asked. Ah, the K corpse, shouted Budum. She answered Stokely. PL day here. The cried out in protest. Anko, if you would. Summoning jutsu at her command, a large coral snake appeared. It was large enough to gobble up any of the kids in a single gulp, but small enough to stay in the room. I want you to make sure these kids stay in order, Anko ordered. If any of them so much as twitches outside of their seat or opens their mouth. She stared at the kids. Eat them, Anko. Aruka shouted. That's a bit extreme. Fine, fine, she sighed. Punish them as you see fit, she told the snake, grabbing Aruka. Before he could protest, she jumped outside the window. The snake was alone with the terrified kids. It eyed them hungrily. Those anyone want to move? The snake asked. I might let a few of you go. The kids didn't so much as shake their heads, but they wanted to. The snake could wait. They were kids after all. They weren't costumed to sitting still for too long. Fields. When the 10 ninjas arrived, they saw a sight to behold. It nearly gave Aruka a heart attack from sheer worry and annoyance. Anko was laughing as if she was seeing the funniest thing possible. B and Koham were tied upside down by their feet. They trying not to move and put unwanted strain on the ropes. Under them were a pile of explosive notes. Moi was just watching a distance away. Dudu, and that's how my first C ranked mission when Naruto finished. Ghoul Kohu stated, causing the rope to shudder. Naruto, what are you doing? Haruka asked in a panic. I'm telling them about my mission. Naruto stated. Why are they upside down over a bunch of explosives? Aruka asked. I'm just training them, he stated, by putting the fear of calm in them. Why isn't Moi getting the same treatment? Anko asked. You're not being soft. Because Shek, a girl, are you? There was a warning in her tone. No, he sighed. Every time I try something like this, she just uses those eyes. He spat in. Ha, I honestly believe you women are taught that at birth. What eyes this had? Anko and Aruka curious. Nudo drew a kunai and made his way toward Mogi. Pui eyes jutsu. See, he pointed accusingly. Naruto, that is the dumb you left one of Anko's summons with the kids for more than 5 minutes. Rudo stated. How many do you think are left? Aruka was already running back to save as many of his remaining students as possible, if there was any left to save. He's such a worry word. Anko stated. So what are you doing here, Nan? Anko asked. I came to give you this. At what he had given his other he's. Anko squealed in delight. She looked for Nudo but saw nothing. All that was left were a few flower petals in his place. She was impressed. Can't wait to tell the girls about the mission. Wait, someone cut us down, shouted Uden. I have a better idea, Anko laughed. How about I help in your training? What they didn't like her smile. It was too much like nuts. Well, you're upside down. I want you to. She drew a kunai dodge. It hasn't been much time since his mission to wave these. Had to deal with his team very little. Since then, Naruto would show up for a mission and then go off training. He would train with his he's like usual. When he wasn't with them, he was with Team 9 minus Ni, unknown to both Team 79 and his HMES. He often trained alone. He wanted them to be proud of him. He's taken to learning the silent killing from Zabuza. He progressed greatly with the stealth skills he built over the years. Zabuza would consider him a prodigy. If Nudo didn't hate the title, that didn't mean he didn't have to deal with them. Sasuke would demand fights, his secrets, his weapons, and his power. He was usually ignored, which made things worse. Sakura was a usual lap dog to the making no effort to become better. Kakashi, he refused to call him sensei, usually allowed them to have their way, and scolded Nudo for antagonizing his team. His skill has progressed regularly for Naruto. Whatever passes as Regular for Naruto is what happened. He wasn't down and level yet, he could however give any ton in a run for their money. He was so skilled that the Hokage was confident enough to give him small solo missions. His Heimer Zabusa would even take him on the more dangerous missions. Now here he was enjoying his ramen. He decided to enjoy the 2 hours it took for Kakashi to arrive. It gave Naruto more time away from Team 7. There was just one pest left. Actually make that 3 UD, and Naruto called. You're the smart one, right? He asked. No one in particular. If I have to tell you 3 rocks aren't square one more time. He let the threat hang. Aha, so you saw through our disguise? Kohu asked. I expected nothing less from you. Naruto noticed smoke rise before their disguise blew up. From the explosion the young trio jumped out and each took a pose before they could say or do anything. Naruto spoke up. If you do that intro then I'll get Anko to watch your class again. We weren't going to do that, lied. Were we? His friend said. Nothing. What are you 3 doing? He asked blankly. You're supposed to be at the academy. We broke out. Mwa cheered. You could teach us real stuff, not that boring stuff, and you promised to play ninja with us today, boss. Kohu stated. The ninja playing ninja? Ha, asked a horrid voice. You really are a baka? Hey boss, who is that? Kohu asked as she or he held out his pinky, earning a scowl from Sakura the gnome. Naruto started. Do you like having your mind unbroken by horrid vision that would forever haunt you? Nightmares eating at your very will? Yes, then don't associate me as being in a relationship with Pinky over there, he stated, pointing to Sakura. I'm stuck with her as my teammate and nothing more. This angered said Pinky. This also hurt her. She didn't know when, but Naruto just seemed to drop her and move on. It made her miss the boy that followed her like a lost puppy. Now he was someone who else. That scared her. Then it was back to anger. What do you mean, baka? Sakura asked. You think you're too good for me? I don't mean to brag, but my girlfriends aren't bad. Mother, hush your mouth, the core shouted. I'm just talking about my HMS. We can dig it. So if forehead isn't your girlfriend, who is? Moi asked. Watch your mouth if you know what's good for you, Sakura threatened. We can take you, Koer stated. It was true. Even without Naruto training them they could take her easily. They were 8 years old. Easy. Yuan tried to reason. Why don't we calm down and go get some ramen? I don't want that filth, Sakura shouted. You should not have insulted the ramen, Naruto stated, turning. He grabbed the kids and ran. Sakura felt something moist slither across her feet. Looking down, she saw a noodle moving as if it had a mind of its own. She didn't look back as she ran. Once Naruto was sure he was far enough, he sat the kids down. Hey boss, why do you eat so much ramen? Kohu asked. It was a simple question, too simple for Naruto. He loomed over them using just a touch of killer intent, just enough to scare them. He answered. It's the only thing that keeps me from craving human flesh. Plus, he answered them with a mouth full of fangs. I never did get to eat my fill today. He eyed the kids. Let's fix that. He ran like the wind. I was just going to ask if they wanted to eat some with me, he said as he stood alone. Ouch, that hurt, you little brat, a gruff voice stated. I need to teach you a lesson. Naruto happened to come around the corner just as the threat was made. What he saw was two San ninja. He decided to watch and see what happened. Hero, stop! A or feminine voice shouted. What if he shows up? Don't worry, Tori Kanguro stated. We have nothing to fear, though. That poor fool, he never met Naruto. Would you please drop him? Naruto stated coldly, making his presence known. And why should I do that? Kanguro asked. And who are you? I'm everything you ever were afraid of, Naruto stated. The hawk. Kuro laughed. You're nothing. He hated this form. He couldn't gather any fear through intimidation. Naruto raised his blindfold and looked Kanguro and Mari in the eyes. I think it's time I put the squeeze on you. From nowhere, two giant snakes appeared. One latched onto Kanguro and began to squeeze him tightly. He was already turning blue. The second grabbed Tori. Unlike Kanguro, it was merely restraining her. And you should have dropped him, because I don't think your friend in the tree would be upset if you hurt the hawk's grandson, Naruto stated also. Sass, you might want to dodge. Sass had been waiting in the tree for a moment to show Naruto up. The AA learned that Naruto knew when danger was near. When he said, "Dodge," it meant you dodge or die. Aruro called, "I can explain." "Shut up, Kanguro," Gar ordered, "or I'll kill you." Naruto stared at Gar. He felt the fear radiating off of Kanguro and Tamari from the simple death threat. It frightened them more than Naruto's skeleton hands that were crushing them. He with a blindfold. Gar addressed Naruto, "What is your name? Why do you care about him?" "Hek, just a nobody," SK stated, stepping forward. "I'm SK Naruto Uzumaki," he answered, irritating Sass further. "And you?" "Or I am Gar of the desert," he stated. "These are my siblings, Tamari and Kanguro." "Hello," they greeted. "Mother wants your blood." Naruto walked forward toward the known named Gar. It made Naruto excited. It meant he had a challenge. The stronger and braver the opponent, the more potent the fear. It seemed Gar had the same opinion. Naruto dropped his hinge and drew his sword. He flooded the entire area with fear. Gar uncorked his sand and flooded the area with demonic killer intent. It almost feels like Q that made him even more excited. "Neither of us could back down from a challenge," Naruto stated. "Welcome on Desert, Punk B." Uzumaki Gara gave a crazed smile. "You can make me feel alive." B boss Kohu called. Dudo turned his attention toward his little followers. They were on the ground in a terrified huddle and were having trouble breathing. The fear and killer intent was both crushing and drowning them at the same time. Their eyes constantly shifted between Gar and Naruto. It seemed they were trying to see who to fear the most. This wasn't something they could handle. Even Sasuke had dropped to one knee. The other two Sand Ninja were doing a little better, just barely. Sakura was passed out. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been so careless." Naruto stood over the Koharu, bringing them into a group hug. He relieved the pressure on them by releasing Ching'e with his gain jutsu. It stopped the pressure from growing, but the damage was done. "I forgot you three weren't ready for something like this." Using Shunin, he took them to his private land. It wasn't the nearest or emptiest training ground, but it was the safest. Now he was sure that they would be okay in their vulnerable state. Looking down, he saw that they were covered in cold sweat. Their eyes were glazed over in a daze, but even then they wouldn't meet his. He removed his jacket and layered it with his strongest calming gain. Just as he laid it across that, he called his foxes. "Bet you all forgot them. Be honest, they would protect them with the training Hana gave them." As he turned to leave, he felt Moi grab his red shirt. "Be careful," Koham whispered. He gave them a smile as he shined away. When he returned, he saw that Sakura was awake and, like Sass, trapped in G's sand. Tamari and Kanguro likewise were still in his illusion. He addressed Gar. "Gar, this is neither the time nor the place." Gara stood there for a moment before his sand retreated. As he did this, Naruto released the other Sand Ninja. "You were right, we shall continue later." They would do not die before then. As they turned to leave, Sakura thought it was time to put in her opinion. "Hey, wait. What do you want?" Tamari asked. "Even if we are allied, you need a reason to be here," she shouted. "What are you doing here?" "Sakura, they are obviously here for the tune and exams," Naruto stated. "We hosting them this time." "He's right," Kuro stated. "Wait, before we leave," Tori-eyed Naruto, "can I touch your whiskers?" "Sorry," he stated. "That's allowed by my he's and Mogi." "When using those eyes." "Wait, he's as in girlfriends?" Kuro asked. "As in more than one?" "Yes and yes." "You lucky bastard," Kanguro mumbled. "I guess I'll just have to become one of your HMES." "She pure until Gar kills him." They turned to leave. "How did you know about the exams?" Asked. "Even he didn't know. Who cares how I knew?" Naruto asked. "I'm going to finish my ramen." "Forget that." Sass was silenced by Naruto's hand over his mouth. The blonde pointed behind Sakura. When they turned to look, they saw the monster Raymond peeking from behind the fence, waiting. "Never mind." Reapplying his hinge, he shined to training ground 7. After waiting 20 minutes, his team finally arrived. Baka's Sakura shouted. "Why did you leave us behind?" "Because I'm not very fond of either of you," Naruto answered before Sakura could start her Screaming match. A puff of smoke appeared. You're late. Sakura stated. Hello Kakashi. He returned at sensei too. Genin. Kakashi stated. I'll call you sensei when you teach me something. Well, my cute little Gen and Kakashi started. And Naruto, he hissed, I have a surprise for you. You're signing us up for the tuning exams, Naruto stated. How did you know? Kakashi asked. We ran into some sand ninja, Sakura stated, hoping to show Naruto up any trouble. He asked, looking accusingly toward Naruto. Abaka tried to show SK up, she screeched. Not that it worked because, well, here are you in trance lips, Kakashi stated, not wanting hair to rant. Be there tomorrow. Next day. What took you so long? Naruto asked. He and SK had been waiting for Sakura for over an hour. I had to look my best for S-kun, she stated. Leiden Go said. All ordered. They came into a block on the second floor. The hallway was under a low gain jutsu to weed the weaklings out. Naruto deduced he saw Team N trying to enter the exams but were knocked back. I know they aren't weak, so they must be holding back. It was a good plan. He was doing the same while under his hinge. Heyu, an arrogant voice spoke. Dro, the game jutsu were going to the third floor. You fool. Naruto sna, that gain jutsu was to weed out the weaklings. Hen, the AA said before walking away. So this is your team, Uzumaki? I not impressed. Another arrogant voice spoke, with a dark eyes. What is your name? It's polite to give yours first when asking for another's name. SAS spoke. The two arrogant boys had a stare off without any warning. They made attempted kick toward each other. I repeat, attemptedly stopped both kicks from connecting with his bare hands. Yose, the green-clad ninja shouted, we must save our flames of youth for when we needed. Ha, Naruto greeted Tenten. You two seem to be doing well. We are la answered before turning to Sakura. You are Sakura Haruno? Yes, please go on a date with me. I will protect you with my life. No way, she shouted. You are too weird. Lee does not give up easily and was not to be denied. Lee stepped toward Sakura. He eyed her with such intensity that it made her nervous. What Lee did surprised everyone, even Naruto. He winked. It wasn't an average wink. Out of his eye, heart popped out. Sakura just barely made it out. The way Lee wasn't so easily deterred. He sent wink after wink at her. She was barely able to dodge. I thought Lee couldn't use gain jutsu, Naruto stated. Be can't. Ten assured. Then how does he? Better not ask at right, Naruto Tenten spoke as if she understood his thoughts. The less you know, the better, sass Naruto called. Can we leave her? That was all he needed to say. They had made it into a whole way before Sakura finally caught up. You, Lee called. You are SCH right? I wish to fight you, Lee. This isn't the time or place. Be quiet, do SK ordered. This won't take long. Yaku's Sakura cheered. Sasson is going to crush that freer trying to flirt with me. On second thought, Lee, crush him into the ground. Naruto ordered, but make it fast. Rightly shouted SK and toward the green ninja in fury. How dare that do think this fool could beat me? And the elite La Hurricane. It was fastly delivered. A devastating spin kick to the AA prodigy. The force behind the blow sent the AA sailing back toward Sakura. Manly, even with your weights, you're faster than me. It was true. If Naruto took his weights off, he was still slower and weaker than Lee. Naruto wasn't jealous. In fact, Lee was an inspiration to Naruto. I'll just have to work harder. Sasson, Sakura cried. Are you okay? I'm fine. In fact, I'm better than fine, he spoke. Kai found a worthy opponent. Sass stood and took his stance. This time there was a small but major difference. He was using the Sharingan, so he unlocked it. Ha, I need to be careful. Even though Sass couldn't copy his game jutsu, he could copy his kinjutsu. Naruto would have none of that if he could help it. ICHA had charged again, this time with twice as much arrogance as before. Does he ever learn? Instead of giving another spin kick, Lee vanished. He reappeared under Sass, giving him a devastating kick to the chin. This sent the AA soaring straight into the air. Not even a second later, Lee was behind the airborne. He wouldn't. The bandages on his arm began to unfurl. He would. As Naruto prepared to act, he felt a familiar chakra Signature make its way to them. That was worse if Guy sees. Lee, he'll go on about the flames of youth whenever they begin ranting. They always hug. Their hugs always involves a certain gain jutsu that even Naruto fears. I have to act fast. Lee, you are dimming your flames of youth. He felt so dirty. No more words needed to be said. As soon as Naruto spoke those taboo words, Lee Canel his attack. Anything that could diminish the flames of youth was something he would have no part in. Now Lee was on the ground doing push-ups. I must reignite my flames before the exams begin, he stated. If I could not do that, then I will do 200 laps around the village, and if I cannot do that. Thankfully he couldn't continue. Guy made his appearance. La, my glorious student, shouted Guy the first. See, your flames are as bright as ever. Those eyebrows Sasuke and Sakura thought, are they caterpillars? Oh, thank you, Guy sense shouted with tears. I lost to this buffoon. Hey you, what was that? SK asked. Why couldn't I follow it? My techniques are neither game jutsu or ninjutsu, Lee stated. I use only two jutsu. So you are Kakashi students. Guy spoke as he mentioned me. Sakura noticed Naruto was trying to get her attention. He was motioning for her to say no. Unfortunately, Sakura had to be Sakura. You know Kakashi Sensei? Sakura asked. I got the twinkle in his eye. Yes, for we are eternal rivals, he shouted, just as Lee and Naruto are to carry on the flames of youth. By Sensei, it is an honor to carry a rivalry. Lee B Sensei, Lee B Sensei, time to go. Naruto thought, however, there was one decision he needed to make. Should I let them witness the sunset? What kind of question is that? Of course he should, as silently as he could. Which was pretty silent. He made his escape. Hello, Naruto. Kakashi greeted, not even looking from his book. Where are the others? You make this too easy. They are learning the wonders of the flames of youth. Naruto shouted. The Kashi nearly dropped his book when he heard what Naruto said. When he looked up, he did said blonde wasn't wearing his orange jumpsuit hinge. Instead he was wearing green spandex. His average blonde eyebrows were now 4 times larger in every way and pitch black. No, Kakashi whispered. Yes, Kashi sensei, he heard S call. I finally found the power I've been searching for to kill my brother, he spoke. It comes from fanning the flames of youth. SK was also wearing a green spandex with an AA symbol on the back. His eyebrows were tremendous. No, if S-kun is following the flames of youth, and so am I. Sakura shouted. Youth. Naruto stood before her holding out a green spandex. It jumped onto her and began to move around her like slime before settling. As saws stood before her with a pair of large eyebrows. They jumped onto her forehead. They stood before their sensei and spoke as one. Join us and say, they chanted, join us and we can spread the flames of youth further. They held out as spandex and eyebrows. Assimilate, they chanted, assimilate. Never, he would never join their cause, but choice is not your sensei. They spoke, join us or be destroyed. No, yes, the green spandex jumped onto him and all went black. Sensei, Sakura asked hesitantly. Their sensei was lying on the ground in the fetal position, writhing in an awkward manner. It was an embarrassing sight, especially for his gen and team. Sakura, it seemed her words reached him. Sass. They took a step toward him. This made him take a step back and draw. Kurenai sensei, what are you doing? Sakura asked. Before any of you take a step forward, he spoke. How do you all feel about the flames of youth? That stuff those green freaks were spouting about? Sakura asked. I hate it, she answered before stating, unless you like it. Sas-kun hn. He answered. I need a relancer. Kakashi shouted, pointing the kunite toward Sasuke in a threatening manner. Are you one of them or not? I think it's useless, Sas answered. Naruto just stared at Kakashi in amusement. It was absolutely hilarious. Now it was his turn. It's not so bad, Naruto answered. They just need to tone it down and stop hugging Theo. No. You know what, just get in there, Kakashi stated, going back to his book. Any words of encouragement? Naruto asked. Are there any limitations? Your best, Sas, Kakashi stated. The faster Sas is promoted, the better. Wow, you could at least act like you're not playing favorites. Kakashi, a new Voice spoke Allo Nan. A second voice greeted Allo my hymns. Naruto greeted to Anko and Kurai. Naruto, when you go in there, don't hold back. Kurai ordered, we want you to do your best, so you're giving me permission to do whatever I want to pass. Nudo asked. Yep, Anyo answered, aren't we the greatest and hottest senses ever? There was a moment of total blankness. It was the calm before the storm. All eyes turned toward Nudo. He had a smile on his face. It was no ordinary psycho smile. No, this smile small and looked calm. However, it put even Anko's most bloodthirsty and sadistic smile to shame. Anchor and I spoke. What have we just unleashed onto those Janine? I have no idea, Anko admitted. May Kami have mercy on whoever runs into Naruto. Because Nudo will have none of all the horrible fear Naruto spread after Naruto started his laughing fit. Everyone became terrified. Even Kurai and Anko were a little freaked out, though Anko was experiencing pride as well. SZ and Sakura decided to head into the exams. SZ. Kuna shrill voice called as a blonde Kunoi jumped onto his back. Did you miss me? Sassen bed off of him, oh pig Sakura. Shouted Sas-kun as mine. Yeah right, just go to your lost puppy. Naruto Ino spoke. Yahu, a gruff voice called. Were all here troublesome? A lazy voice spoke. Do you have to be so loud? Hey, we were. Where eyes? Naruna timid Kunoi asked. Hey, where is that baka you know? Asked. I need to give him a piece of my mind for getting me in trouble with daddy. I'm going to kill that dough, Kiba grumbled. Suddenly the entrance doors burst open with a loud bang. As everyone looked, they saw that no one there, just a long empty hallway. Then it happened. The lights at the very back began to flicker before going off completely. In the darkness, a pair of crimson eyes became visible from afar. It was all that was visible. They were very fox-like. Then the singing began. Total slaughter, I won't leave a single man alive. The eyes began moving forward toward the entrance, but there were no footsteps. The lights began to flicker off as the eyes came closer. The room began to fill with fear. Genocide LD and oaths of blood. The eyes were finally at the door, and still the only part of the stranger visible. The room was full to the top with fear. It only continued to grow. Let's begin the killing times. The first foot made its way through from the shadows. Naruto appeared. He was still under his hen, but his blindfold was off. He gave the room a full view of his fox-like eyes. Hey guys, what's up? Naruto, you troublesome blonde. Shikamaru sighed. You scared us half to death. Only half. Naruto asked. I'll do better next time. I wasn't scared, Kiba boasted. Then why are your legs shaking? Shio asked. Shut it. Hey, you guys should keep it down. A newcomer spoke, wise, drawing a lot of attention. He looked to Naruto especially. You freaked out a lot of people with that intro. It was true, everyone had their eyes on the rookie. 9 Naruto decided to have some fun. Well, the only thing to fear, he eyed them as fear himself. He felt them grow anxious, so they should be afraid. They should be very afraid. Nudo began reapplying his blindfold when Ino opened in her mouth. Baka, why are you wearing a blindfold? She asked. It makes you look like a bigger baka, and it clashes with that orange monstrosity. You just don't understand that being a ninja isn't about fashion or looking good. Naruto spoke. Plus, a blindfold makes everything look impressive. Just look at that Rain ninja over there. Everyone turned to the Gen and squad from Rain. There was one with both eyes covered. It wasn't an exact blindfold, but it proved the point. The Rain ninja gave a simple nod and thumbs up. Someone understood. Well, maybe I could be of service too. You all, Kabuto offered. I have information from my previous times here. Is this your second time, Kabuto-san? Sakura asked. No, it's my 7th, he admitted. Man, you must really sack KBA taunted, or these exams are extremely difficult, Shikamaru stated. Thebo SK called. Do you have information on individuals? Yes. Who would you like? R of the Desert Rock Lee. He paused. And Nudo Yamaki. You know their names, he stated. That's no fun. He drew 3 cards and began to read. The first, Rock Lee, the T-Jutsu expert with no known ninjutsu or gain jutsu. His teammates are 10-10 and Niji Hyuga 25D ranks 21C ranks 1B rank. That's pretty impressive. Bar of the desert, his skill is unknown. And his teammates are his siblings Tamari and Kanguro. 0D ranks 9C ranks 8B ranks 14A ranks. The scariest part is Kabuto Spock. He's never even been scratched on a single mission. Nudo Yamaki, a game jutsu and Kinjutsu user. His teammates are Sakura Haruno and Sasuke aka the Mirage Blade, the hero of Wave Fear. 84D ranks 16. C ranks 2B ranks 1A rank. There is no way that Baka did all those missions. Sakura screeched, you must have mixed them up with Sasukunin stats. Actually, these are missions he's taken with his girlfriends. That's right, plural. He paused and watched the men's reaction. The Ice Queens of Koha. He managed to fight off abuse of the demon in the mist and turn him into a leaf ninja in Still Hope and save a village, getting a bridge names after him after killing near 200 bandits, and he was the one people believed was the dove. Many eyes were now on Nudo. This was like a fear buffet for him. However, some of that information is classified. All have to watch this guy. Hello Naruto. Kunari greeted, are you going to let me touch those whiskers yet? Hello Tori Chan. Nudo returned the greeting and no still for my hymns only. He noticed off to the side that Kabuto made a comment on the sound Janine that was foolish, insulting an unknown enemy. Be right, maggots, take a seat, Ikki shouted. It's time for the first test to begin. After explaining the rules, which I will not do, they began. It was simple. If you looked underneath you have to get the answers without getting caught. The only way to do that was to cheat, unless you're Naruto Pruer San. Naruto called, can I have the answers? Everyone paused in their actions. They couldn't believe that someone would actually ask for the answers during a test, yet here was Nudo doing that very thing. Down in lounge, the Kashi was banging his head on the wall in embarrassment and anger. How could one of his students do that to him? The answer was actually pretty simple. It was Naruto Uzumaki. BKO was happily laughing her head off. And I had to admit it was a little humiliating, but worth it to see the look on everyone's face. Plus, it was a technique no one had ever tried before. Did he really think ABCKI would just give him the answers? Asuma asked. Probably, and I answered. Exam room. Sure, he said, handing him the answers. All J in face faulted. Minus Anko, who just rolled on the grum laughing. Ikki was impressed. Naruto had to either be the bravest or craziest Janine he'd ever met. May I have the answers as well? Shio asked. Ikki was tempted to give him the answers, but he had a reputation to keep. No, Biki stated. Please. Shio tried. No. Why did he give you the answers? Baka. Sakura asked. He should have give them to Sassen, not that he needs them. She went on ranting about how great SK was. It was a nightmare. Is she ever shut up about the Ikki asked. Not unless you threaten her. Naruto asked. Then you may have a good 1 minute. I'll give you the answers if you shut her up. Aki offered. Sho Aruno. Sho whispered, be quiet or my friends EY and will eat you. He allowed his insect to crawl around in a dramatic fashion for extra effect. They all believed he would. I believed he would not, that he'd get much off her. Many thought there is no meat on her bones. But the answers. Naruto quickly blew through the test. Minus the 10th answer. Not that it matters. He thought he had already figured out the meaning of the test. All right, are you all ready for the final question? Ikki asked. The 10th question was a dangerous one. If they decided not to take it, then they were disqualified. If they did take it and failed, then they wouldn't be able to be promoted ever. The Gen and we're already leaving the room. This guy is practically spoon feeding me. The fear of failure was intoxicating, but it's still not enough. It's nowhere near enough for those who are still here. Aki spoke. You pass it. As he spoke those words, a black cloth broke through the window. It spread out to reveal that it was a sign. It read, the second proctor. The sexy and taken Anishi. I'm the proctor for the second exam. She spoke. Anishi Anoiki s. You're early again. You let so many though this year. Aki Anko pointed out. Are you Getting soft in your old age, no, but your little friend there. He pointed to Naro as a wild shot. I know, I'm so proud, she cheered. Hi hi Nudo hi ner chan, she greeted as she moved to sit in his lap. I saw your intro, it was amazing, thank you. He spoke. I aimed to please. Oh you do nan, she pure you do. The you to begin something you probably one stop it was. True they wouldn't, you need to remember you are the second proctor, right? She had forgotten. I want you all to follow me to the next exam spot. We are going to cut the remaining teams in half. Naruto raised his hand to ask a question. Yes, Naruto, you will be allowed to literally cut people in half. He dropped his hand. No, I not going anywhere with you. Sakura screeched. Not after what you put me in S-kun through. Naruto. Anko spoke. If you would, everyone, this room has been laced with exploding tags. Naruto spoke. If the blast doesn't kill you, the collapsing building will. By both he and Anko went up in smoke. Everyone looked and saw that the room was indeed laced with explosive tags. Many were wondering the same thing. How did we miss him putting those up? They'll never know. And the explosives were set to go off at any second. The Bicky was the first out the window. He had no doubt in his mind that those explosives were real. The Gen and followed soon after. 5 4 3 boom. Oh god, he's trying to kill USA. Random Gen and shouted. B eyes turned to Naruto. Even Anko had to take a look at the blonde Nudo. She started. Those explosives were real. Yep, he answered. People could have died, unfortunately they didn't. He spoke. But now they'll fear me. You make me so